ragamuffin keeps striving in every way. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamalski. We are the general. We sit about the rhythm and I open the mic incredible. I'll be right palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm I sit down steady. Every ragamuffin you do off it, rock and follow me. Cool, you know you love her for your life. We jump up on the rhythm, make we ride it right. We chat up on the mic and keep it international. Cause anytime we jump on mic, they call we give it a general. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamalski.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with Plugin Boutique, another dev stream for you. As usual, let me know if you can hear me. I will not start until I know my voice is being heard. And in the meantime, let's read out some location shout-outs. We've got Pittsburgh, PA, Portland, Oregon. CZ. What's CZ? Should I know that? Midlands, UK. Midlands, UK. I'm not from the UK. I'm here now. Does that just mean you're in the middle of the UK? Or is that an actual place called Midlands? Arizona. Sweden. Loud and clear. Love it. Yes. Thank you, Kyle. New York City, Mexico City, LA. Love it. Well, welcome everybody. Like I said, I'm Joshua Casper. We're with Plugin Boutique, and we got a cool stream for you today. We're with a personal, close friend of mine from Excite Audio, Solo. I'm going to be bringing him on in a second, but before we do that, a couple of quick announcements. One, we just dropped DC snares on Plugin Boutique. That's a Plugin Boutique product made by the co-creator of Scalar 2. It's really cool if you're into snares, and snares are a fundamental part of almost all tracks. It's definitely something you want to check out. Also, huge news. Right now, you can get the entire Pultec Passive EQ collection from Universal Audio. That's 3 incredible EQs for free just for signing up for LoopCloud. I'm going to have Connor drop a link to it in the chat. Just go sign up for LoopCloud. Get the products, get the plugins rather. You can keep them for life, whether or not you can continue with LoopCloud, but you probably should because it's absolutely fantastic. Coming up in the following weeks, I think about once a week, I'm going to be doing a production live stream on the LoopCloud channel. So if you haven't subscribed and you're not following over there, do that so we can make some music together. That will be a solo, not my guest solo, but a Josh solo stream. I hope that makes sense. And last bit of announcements. Next Thursday, we'll be doing a double stream right here on the channel. One's for Synchro Arts Vocal Line 6. That just came out. It's a really great vocal syncing plugin. It's really great for vocals, but it's also really great for ADR if you're into audio post-production for film, television, etc. And then a double header, because right after that, well, actually not right after that, but at like 9 or 10 p.m., you'll have to check the time, but late night for the UK people, David Carbone will come on the stream and do a takeover to showcase his new plugin, DC Snares. But that's it. Those are the announcements. With that, let's bring on my guest today, Solo Major from Excite Audio. Solo, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. How's it going with you?
Oh, it is absolutely phenomenal. I love doing these streams. I like checking out the newest plugins out there. And Motion Dimension and the Motion line in general is really cool. So I'm excited to get a professional level insight into these incredibly unique plugins. So before we do that, Solo, why don't you let people know a little bit about yourself and what we're going to be doing here on the stream today?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Josh said, my name's Solo. I've been working for Excite Audio basically since the start, like Lifeline Expanse. That was me in a notebook coming up with different modules and like sketching it together before working with absolute professionals to bring it together, and obviously the rest of the team. And yeah, basically I'm the creative lead and senior product manager there, which basically means that I work with other people to sort of come up with interesting plugin ideas, decide what they're going to look like, deciding what they're going to sound like, what features they should have, and then obviously, testing and bringing them to market. So a little bit of everything. But yeah, a lot of it is just like coming up with like crazy plugin ideas, and the Motion series, Motion Dimension is definitely one of those.
Nice. Well, I mean, I don't like to keep people waiting. Why do you say we jump over to the DAW and get a first-hand look at this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do that now. Here we go. Flipping over in 5, 4. It's done. Yep.
It's already done.
I got to work on my countdown skill. It's not great.
Counting in reverse, it's tricky. Normally it's just 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's right.
That's
all
cool.
Right. But while you're pulling up Motion there, ladies and gentlemen on the stream, I've been authorized from Solo and the good people at Excite Audio to give away at least one lucky person literally every Excite Audio plugin. Let's get some fire emojis. Let's get some clapping hand emoji. Let's just get some emojis in general in the chat, because that's a lot of plugins and they're all phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for that, Solo. We might sprinkle a few other winners throughout the stream. To be entered to win, all you need to do is be active in the chat. A good way to do that is at Plugin Boutique with your questions for Solo, and we'll try to get them answered here on the stream. That's Josh. I'm going to be quiet now. I'm sorry, Solo.
No. Talk to me. It's all good. It's all good. Nice. Cool. So yeah, this is Motion Dimension. If you haven't seen it before, both of our Motion plugins, we've got Motion Dimension here, which is basically a combination of a reverb and a dual delay. And it's the second in the series. The first was Motion Harmonic, which combined bit crushing, distortion, and filters. And both of them basically use this really unique hexagon interface, which you can sort of see in action here. And it kind of, we'll get into it, but it kind of works like an evolution of the XY pad, and ends up being like really expressive and really performative. But I can show you how it sounds if you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's dive in. Okay, cool. So I've got this track loaded up. So as you can hear, it's very, very lush. I mean, this preset is at least a very lush reverb and delay. And what we're going to be doing is basically walking through all the features of it, basically, and we're going to hear it on some different parts of this 16-bar loop, because that's how all music is made in 16-bar loops.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've actually found, I feel kind of guilty because I find quite often that I just throw that default preset on and really don't need too much more quite often. And I'm like, well, I really should get in there and use it. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what I say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot going on in the default preset. We've actually got some like modulating feedback amounts. We've got some different reverbs, well, different reverb characters going on here. So if I just play it on these plugs. And then again. So yeah, and if I stop it, I can basically increase all of these different delay and reverb parameters. So to explain what on earth is going on here, I'll load up the default preset and we'll dive into it. Cool. So we've got our main section, and this is the hexagon, and this is where all of your like performances like happen, and all of your like sort of automation within the plugin. But on the side, just by clicking here, we can open up the advanced panel, where we can see that we have a delay section at the top and a reverb section at the bottom. So when I hover over the top section, this delay, you can see that the bottom half gets replaced with this graph, which doesn't look very interesting at the moment. So to get some stuff going, we can just bring up the wet signal. And as I do that, you can see we start seeing these lines, and these are almost like different like reflections or different echoes of the delay. And if I increase the feedback time, feedback amount, you can see that there's loads. So there's some different modes that we've got going on here. So if I just increase the feedback time, just for delay time to quarter notes, you can hear it. And we've got reverse, which is awesome to see in a delay. There aren't too many reverse delay plugins out there, and for good reason, because they are ridiculously there's a lot to them. I'm going to say they're pretty hard to make, but there's a lot to them. So. And then we can add ping pong in as well.
Okay, there it is. Someone made a comment that we were in mono. I think a lot of that was fairly centered, but that ping pong one was very clearly stereo. So, David, if you're still here in mono, I'm not quite sure what to tell you, but I can definitely hear it in stereo. Let me know, everybody else, if you heard that ping pong bouncing to the left and the right, please.
Yeah, let's give it another go.
Yeah, I could see it in OBS, so we should.
Brilliant. Sweet.
Did you play that dry for us before you? Because it sounds really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I just turn it off and then. So it's got a nice long tail to it, but then we can get some real sort of rhythms going there when we bring it back.
Love the slur.
There you start. Yeah, that's where some of the magic comes in. So yeah, at the moment we've got ping pong on. I'll turn that off for now, and we've got this repitch mode. And basically this makes it work like a tape delay. So if I go from a really short reverb delay time to a longer delay time, you'll hear this crazy pitch shifting Doppler effect. Which is, it's pretty experimental, but it is a really nice sort of sound. And if I turn sync off, then it happens like crazy when I'm just working in milliseconds.
I love that one, you can see the delay lines or the actual taps there in the delay visualizer, but I also love how the hexagon animation also moves around while you're tweaking out parameters.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've affectionately called it the void, just because we kind of like get lost in it, and it's sort of like just, yeah, it's kind of like looking into a black hole. And yeah, so a lot of the effects parameters are mapped to visual parameters as well. So yeah, as I sort of like change delay times, things move around, and then eventually when we get onto reverb, like when you change the reverb time, it changes the appearance quite drastically.
We actually have a question about the visualizer there. The Oral Flow is complimenting it, saying it's absolutely wonderful, and they're curious if the processing for that graphic is done by the CPU, or is it taking advantage of the the GPUs that a lot of people have these days?
Yeah, it should be taken advantage of for GPU. It depends on different people's systems, and if you do have like a separate graphics card, then it'd definitely be like taking advantage of that. So it's dependent on people's systems, but yeah, in most cases we've tried to make it look as impressive as possible, whilst taking as little resource as possible. And you can see I'm just on my laptop, but it's only taking sort of like 7-8% at the moment of my CPU. So
nice. I got a few more questions, but I think we'll let you continue on, and when I got a few more, I will jump in and bother you with those at that moment. If you got any questions for Solo about Motion Dimension or any Excite audio plugin, or just life in general, at Plugin Boutique, and we'll try to get Solo to answer them here on the stream.
Sweet, cool. I spent way too long talking about repitch, because like most delays do that by default. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, when I change delay time, it always does like this crazy stuff. But we did try to do it in quite a like sonically pleasing way. The more impressive thing is when you turn repitch off, and now basically it will jump between different delay times smoothly. So if I go from a half note delay to like quarter note or even faster, it will do that smoothly. So if I just show you that. And you get it without any kind of clicks and stuff. And that's really important to us, because the whole point of Motion Dimension is to basically, as we'll see with the hexagon, is to automate these parameters in real time. So it's really important for us to get it smooth. We've got this right offset, and basically that, you'll see on the graph, actually shifts the right signal slightly out of sync. And doing this basically creates like a Haas effect and adds to stereo width, which is really cool. So it's still in time. We're not using like ping pong or anything. It literally just spreads the signal out and just makes it sound really, really full. And some other cool stuff is that we can unlink the left and right feedback. There aren't too many delays that do this. So in this case, the left side of the delay will just carry on forever, and the right will stop really suddenly. And it just carries on in the left there. Headphones or speakers are definitely like recommended for this tutorial, I'm realizing. Yeah. And then another cool thing that we can do is modulate the delay time. So if I go back into repitch, you can see that all the delay times actually flex, and we get that sort of like vintage tape delay sort of effect happening always. And you can use that really extreme, or you can have it really subtly, just to add sort of like a little bit of like vintage like sort of instability, I guess. As well as that, we've got ducking, which I know that you're a fan of, Josh.
People know that now. I'm gonna make merch about it, to be honest. It's
last
fantastic.
Year it was don't sleep on saturation was last year's like tagline, I swear.
Yeah. That still holds true, and I should make t-shirts. But yeah, ducking is, I just talked about this. Was it last week? I think, it was last week. They also had a really cool reverb, Aberrant DSP, and we talked
Yeah.
about, they have a duck built in, and the thing that it's
Nice.
about it is I'm gonna end up making the reverb duck when I'm actually getting my song ready, and if I have to go through 4 extra processes to make sure it gets ducked, as opposed to just having it in the effect already, then I'm gonna probably lean towards the one that already has that done for me.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. Yeah, I've checked out the Aberrant DSP like reverb. It's absolutely awesome. Those guys are crazy.
It really is. If you didn't see,
Very,
if
very
you weren't
cool.
here last week, Connor, throw a link to that live stream. They're just doing great stuff. I love everything they're doing. They're also a very unique company that are doing cool, unique, and useful stuff. So
yeah, shout out to Aberrant DSP. Cool.
Nice.
So we've got duck in this as well. I feel like every delay and reverb should have it. We've got a few of them. And then in addition to all of these, we've got a low cut and high cut as well. So if I just show that off as well. So that's just listening to like the wet signal mostly there. So, and you can turn the graphs off with this little button at the top. So we haven't just got one delay, we've basically duplicated all of these controls and we've got a second delay. And the advantage of this is that maybe you'd want to do, something like really like short and like metallic. So if we just have a listen to delay 2 now. Just do. It's like a real sharp metallic, like slap back delay. And then if we want, then we can have like a longer delay as well. And if I do that. So both feedback's on. Both of those delays are working at the same time there. And then just to jump ahead, we've got this routing section down at the bottom. And at the moment, the long delay 1's going into delay 2. But if I want to swap that, I can literally just drag and drop and those switch position. And now it's got our short delay then goes into like the longer delay.
Can you flip it back so I can try to pay attention to what it was before?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty similar in this case, but if you've got like different like rhythms, you might want them to like one to happen then the other, especially if you're doing like different like filtering with like the low and the high cut as well. You might want to like pass like the full signal that doesn't not affected by a filter like into a filtered signal, or like filter it first before doing like a longer delay. So that's really cool. And then we've got other routing options here. So if we wanted, we could then have delay 1 and delay 2 acting in parallel. So they'll just be working like independently of each other. Which is kind of like a lot cleaner because you're getting more of like the dry signal in both of those. And just, it's really, really useful when you've got like 2 different rhythms and you're not wanting things to get like too cluttered, basically.
Nice.
And especially when you get reverb involved as well.
Before we get reverb involved, I got a few questions. They're coming in quite quick, so perhaps we'll knock some out. Charlie Hatton is saying, are the delays shown in different colors but together if the graph is on and you're using both delay lines?
Yeah, they are actually. So if I just turn the graph back on, I can actually see what, if I go to 2 here, see what's happening in real time. And if I make these like a similar sort of time, then you can see where they're lining up on the graph and where they aren't. And then especially when I start offsetting things, it's really useful to see which echoes are landing together or away from each other. And then especially like when you're modulating stuff as well.
Boz E is saying, how can you, and this is a little bit of a cheeky question, Solo, so take it or leave it.
Okay.
How would you describe motion dimension in one word without using motion or dimension?
Dreamy.
Dreamy. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, dreamy.
Let me see. Franco Lopez is wondering, does feedback L control repetition of the left channel only, and then feedback R is for the right channel? I guess
Effectively,
yeah.
yes. Things change a little bit in ping pong because you kind of like need like one side feeding into the other side. But on just a regular stereo delay, that's exactly how it works. It's like you have like almost like you have two separate delays, like one on the left, one on the right.
All right, nice. And Vazik Becca is wondering, can it do the shimmer effect?
I don't know exactly what they mean by the shimmer effect. We've got a lot of like chorusy and like ensemble sort of like style presets, and like, even like some flanges, just because like these go down to like really low millisecond values, and then you can kind of modulate those. I can actually show one off, see whether it's
shimmer is kind of like a new reverb that's floating around in some plugins. It's kind of like, I don't know, it almost uses like a harmonic and like sustains certain harmonics, I would say, and the shimmerness of it is a higher set of harmonics to make it.
What, like pitched reverb?
It's kind of like that. It's difficult to explain, but if do you have pigments?
Yes, yeah, I've used pigments.
Yeah, if you got pigments, I mean, when in your own time, maybe they have it in their effects on the newest version. It's pretty cool.
Sick. Oh, well, I'll definitely check it out.
A few more questions though. Don't hold on. Someone asked, Legal VST. Thank you, Legal VST, for letting people know how to get plugins. That is on Plugin Boutique legally. They're wondering, does this plugin have a parameter randomization feature?
I'm going to say not yet, because in our Bloom series, we've started like experimenting with like randomizing certain parts of it, like creating phrases in this like sequencer. And yeah, I can say we're doing research into it, which sounds like a bit of a weird answer. But it's kind of like you want to randomize stuff, but with certain plugins, especially ones like this that have like feedbacks that can get really extreme, you want to almost like randomize within like safe values. So we're just like working out like the best way to sort of randomize stuff in like, but also get results that are like pleasing to you. And so yeah, looking at motion harmonic as well, which uses a lot of feedback. So not currently, but it's something that we're really, really interested in like looking into further.
No, skip that one. George, someone got the username George, just George, and that's commendable. Congratulations, George. I mean, that's tough just to get a single word name as your username. Anyway, George is wondering if there is something like a MIDI trigger for motion dimension. Perhaps we can cover that when we get to that section of the plugin. Probably best not to skip around. Someone else was wondering if there's a way of recording the movement for the path. We're going to get to that as well. Audio transmitted disease. And last but not least, Manuel Suarez is wondering, can you talk about the CPU usage and overall system resource consumption? This is Solo, just so you know, a question that comes up on literally every one of these streams. So don't feel like people are wondering just because of the animation. It's people just want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. With the animation, I kind of hinted at it earlier in the stream. Like it kind of depends a little bit on the system, and it'll make use of the GPU as much as it can. That's more works better on some people's systems than others. CPU usage, ideally, I mean, is going to remain low, and the animation shouldn't really affect it at all. In terms of like what is like happening in Ableton here, and yeah, I mean, I'm just on my laptop, and it's sort of like around this sort of like 6, 7, 8% for a single instance.
Nice.
So yeah, not horrendously bad, and not too bad.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll cap the questions there for now. Keep the questions coming though at Plugin Boutique with them, and we're gonna pick at least one lucky person to walk away with every single Excite Audio plugin. How many plugins is that now, Solo?
Oh my gosh.
So many
9?
he doesn't even know off the top of the head. That's a
Yeah, I
lot of
think
plugins.
9.
Nice.
Yeah.
To be entered to win, all you need to do is be active in the chat, and a good way to be active is to at Plugin Boutique with your questions. Go ahead, Solo. Keep it rocking.
Sweet, cool. So yeah, I think we're sick of listening to those plucks for now. So I'll say we'll listen to this sort of like chord stab now. So that's very, very dry, and we're going to explore some of the reverb section. So our reverb goes up to 25 seconds, but when it is at 25 seconds, it basically freezes, or at least freezes for late reflections, which are these just like really nice, like slightly less bright things, which just fits into tracks really, really nicely. And then we've also got character. And so under the hood, we don't have just one reverb algorithm. We've actually got two. So if I just turn on the tooltips here, I can hover over character. And yeah, basically at 0%, we're using a plate reverb algorithm. And then at 100%, we've got a hall reverb. And you can sort of like change and modulate that. So that's the plate, and then hall. And you'll see the void sort of change to this nice green. So that's really nice. We can change the stereo mount, we can change the size, which affects more of like the early reflections, and the distance, which basically changes the balance between the early and late reflections of the reverb. So it makes it seem like that long reverb is sort of like further away from where you're recording, which is really cool. And then in addition to this, if I just put the graph back on, we've got a nice visualization here where we've got this sort of like dreamy sort of like cloud, which represents the reverb tail, and you can sort of see that on the graph like going up to 25 seconds. We can also adjust pre-delay, which sort of shifts the start of it. And then we've got this line going through the middle, and this basically allows you to, it's kind of like an EQ curve. So, well, it is an EQ curve. So it allows you to do some tone shaping to the wet signal. So we can cut out all the high frequencies. And then we've also got a shelf that we can use as well. And I can adjust what frequency I want the shelf to be at. And that allows you to basically add some like brighter frequencies into it. Or you can sort of like dampen them out. And then we also have tone, which basically is a tilt EQ that just affects the whole like frequency balance of the reverb, and then ducking in as well. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's basically the reverb and delay. So if you like, we can start actually like using this in the Hexagon interface and start automating them.
Yeah, let's get through some more questions. Quite a lot of questions coming in. Love to see it.
Nice.
Talk about Mac support, if you could.
I would need to double check our product page, actually, just to check what the latest version it runs on. I know that it's all just, I mean, Macs have been like 64-bit forever. So this only works on 64-bit computers, but that's mainly for Windows users. So I'd say double check the product page. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Maybe we can get Connor to check it out. Please do, Connor. Let us know. Plans. Someone else was wondering, is the duck Cesar Morea is wondering if the duck function in the reverb able to use an external sidechain signal.
Not currently, but that is a really highly requested feature, so it's definitely something that we'll look into.
Okay. And how many different? Oh, Vic20 is wondering how many different routing options are there in the tab customization.
Sure. So basically, there's like 4 different routing architectures. So there's fully in series, there's parallel going into series going into parallel, and then fully parallel, where all 3, like the 2 delays and the reverb, are all working in parallel. And then you can drag and drop. So the actual, like, if you had like parallel going into series, you have all the different options of how you want to arrange these 3 effects.
Cool. That will cap the questions there. Let's keep rocking.
Awesome. Cool. So because we're working with such like small like millisecond values, like with reverb size goes down really small, and like in delay when it's unsynced can go down to like 1 millisecond. It's not just good for like delays and reverbs. You can also create like really interesting like choruses and like flanging effects. So just to show off some of those. So we've got this guitar. And then we can actually put some flange on it. So that's like a chorus that's being just built out of basically modulating the size of the reverb, which is really, really cool effect. So yeah, pretty unique there.
You always have such great audio examples. Are those yours, or are you getting those from Loop Cloud, or?
Yeah, this is just on my system, so it's going to be a combination of wherever I get it from. So some of it's going to be my own recordings, some of it's going to be Loop Clouds as well, definitely, and then just other places as well that you can get sort of sample content from. Yeah,
you always have the best audio examples to use with your plugins.
Nice. Oh, we'll have to catch up afterwards. We'll like share some.
We'll do
files.
some sample swapping. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Old school. Nice. Cool. So if I load up this default preset, we'll start like mapping some parameters. So the way that this works is basically I can go hover over any parameter, and when I hover over this little like move icon, I can just drag that onto. I can literally just like drag and drop that and hover over any of these sliders. When I do that, you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can just drop that onto slider number 1. And now you can see that one's like lit up brighter than the others. And now when I move my mouse around, I'm basically modulating the wet delay signal. Is my volume all right? Is it too loud or too quiet?
I think it's...
because it's a little bit quieter in the mix.
Yeah, it might be... I mean, it could come up, but I don't think it's...
Sweet. Nice. And if I turn the feedback up... So yeah, that's basically the gist of like the Hexagon controller, and you can map basically as many parameters as you like. You can basically put a load of them on a single slider, and so I can change the tone as well as like the wet signal here. When I do that, you can see that they appear in this list. and I can choose the minimum and maximum values of each of the parameters, sort of where I want to sort of automate it between. So let's say I want to go from like tone at like 0 up to like sort of like 70 or so, and then with the wet signal, I'll start off with a little bit of wet signal there, and then go up to plus sort of about there. Opening these windows is super easy. You just need to like click on the number, and if I hover over any of these numbers, you can see that like slider 1 flashes up in the sort of like top left corner there. And then if I hover over a different one, slider 2 pops up there. And then to open the mapping window to see what's on it, I just click.
Solo, is there
really nice.
like a hot swap for min max?
There isn't. That's a really cool idea though. So just if you wanted to swap the two values around and make the minimum and maximum. No, that's a really cool idea. I haven't heard that before.
Let's go ahead, write that down, and send me a percentage. What do you think's fair for that?
That's your idea. That's not chat.
No, that's my idea right now. So I think 1.3% is fair.
Sure, yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
I've got about 100 witnesses that just happened. So.
Oh no. Cool. So if we listen to this, it'll be automating the tone and wet signal at the same time. I'll bring the dry signal down. And then we can do something really crazy and put like delay time on this other slider. So yeah, you can get some like pretty crazy results, and that's just with like 3 things mapped onto like 2 of the sliders. So you can really get lost in it, and yeah, get sort of like crazy with it as well. So obviously, performing it live is great, but the Motion Engine also allows you to like record your own movements as well as sort of like mapping out paths as well. So if I just put the wet signal on there again, it remembers what the last values were, which is really, really nice. And I come over to the other page, so I just flicked down onto cursor and hexagon. What I can do here is basically come down to this path section, make sure draw is selected, hover over add, and then now I can draw a path. So let's start from the center and then just go out to the edge. And that's all I'm going to do for now. If I go to select, I can move these points around. And now, when I press play, you can see that basically the mouse is moving by itself. I've got my mouse over here in the effects section, and it's just going through that by itself. Cool. But it isn't quite doing what I want it to do at the moment. I want it to sort of like start from there and then like gradually go to the outside. So if I just play again. The node is kind of just like, firstly it's jumping back to the middle, and I want it to sort of like jump back down to the bottom. There's a few ways that I can do this. And I'm going to do it in real time whilst I'm listening to it.
That's cool, like a little fill there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like increasing the wet signal towards like the end of the phrase. So I did a load of stuff there to get that sound. Firstly, I changed the range of the magnets just to make it a little bit more precise. So if I change this range control, either the influence like that the mouse has in terms of like what nodes it can reach increases, or it can be like very, very small. I was making sure that it basically covers the length of the slider. I can change the strength of the magnet, basically because I want this node to jump back. Because I want it to jump back to the beginning, I want a really strong strength. Like if the magnet moves, I want these nodes to move as well. We don't have to have it like that. If I bring the strength down, and now look at it, you can see that it moves towards where my mouse is really, really slowly. So if you're doing like evolving pads or something like that, you can just have this really subtle, smooth, slow movement. But that's obviously not what we're doing at the moment. In addition to that, I went down to the timeline section and went to this multiplier. So currently the time frame like of how the path loops, it was set to like 1 bar, and I just changed that to 2 bars. And then finally I went to the timeline section here, and it was just playing at a constant rate. So that looks like this. Turn the strength back up. So it's just going up. It jumps back to the start, but it's just moving at a constant speed. If I bring the start of the timeline down and the end of the timeline up, basically it starts off slow and then accelerates. And I can create anything that I want, like in the timeline. I can have it accelerate to begin with. If I bring it all the way down, that means that it actually is like stationary for a section, which is really useful as well if you wanted to like stop at a certain point along the path. And yeah, that's basically everything that I did there. And I can play forwards, backwards, or play it forwards and backwards. If I want it to just be like a single flourish, I can actually turn loop off, and basically the entire path will just happen once. And going back to like MIDI triggering, that's something that you could do. Like, let's say if you're doing like a build in your project, you could say, "Oh, I'm going to just like basically configure my like MIDI settings and just trigger the play button to start at a certain point in time like of my track, and then the path will just like do its thing and go all the way to the end," which is like really cool. So just to show you how that sounds. And it just stays at its like last stays at its like the last position that the magnet was in. So if I wanted to jump back to the start, then I would just add like another pointer if I wanted to end in a different position, and then I could change the timeline so it ends up back where it started. Or I could play it forwards and then backwards with the pendulum.
Nice.
But yeah. So yeah, that's I don't know if you wanted to ask any questions there, Josh, or anything like that, because I was going to get into like recording your own sort of like paths by using your cursor movements.
Well, perhaps before we move on to that, Legal VST is wondering if there's a point limit that you can have in the timeline or in the hexagon.
Yeah, if there is, I haven't found it. Like we've done some like pretty wild ones. I should say, like, you know, in the preset browser, we've got this category called simple paths. And so if you don't want to draw your own, you can just load one of these in that we've designed. And yeah, it will sort of just like load a path in view and like move the nodes on the sliders around like in a really like pleasing way. And then, yeah, in terms of like the number of them, we've got this one where sort of like try to draw the Excite Audio logo. So there's like, yeah, quite a lot sort of going on there.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. To be fair, looking at it now, I'd probably, if I go to like this resize tool, I can sort of like change the whole like sort of path around, and yeah, maybe balance it out a little bit more. But yeah, and then it'll just make its way around there. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for questions. If you want to move on to recording.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd tell you what, actually, before we do, I feel like we haven't really like shown enough of like the path. So if I just load in the default again, and we'll do the same as before. We'll drag this like wet amount onto path 1. Josh, what would you like to put? We'll put another one on another slider and we'll affect things at the same time. So we'll put something on slider 2 as well. Do you have any preference, like reverb or
it's
delay
always
time?
It's always reverb. It's always reverb.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Cool. We'll put that on as well.
Thank you for asking me.
Sweet.
Thank you for including me.
That's all good, man. Yeah, good to remember you're here. It's not just me talking. Sweet. So we'll see how this sounds. I'll add a little bit of that right offset to add a bit of stereo spread and just boost up the feedback time. Cool. So I've dialed in sort of a delay and a reverb that I like the sound of there. And this time, instead of drawing a path just to the end of one slider, I can draw it like straight up the middle and then sort of bring it back over, say away from them both, and then just up to like sort of the end of slider 1 before coming back. So let's have a look. I mean, that is just going absolutely crazy at the moment, so we'll slow it down.
On that note, Sockelstein is wondering if this syncs to the DAW tempo.
Yeah, it does. So, yeah, it syncs to it. And yeah, that happens automatically. In addition to that, you can also have it synced with your DAW. So if I play in my DAW, I can have it so that it always jumps back to like the start of the path whenever I do that. So if I like play and then like play again in my DAW, always jumps back to the start. I can actually turn that off. So this could just always be happening in the background and it's unaffected by whatever I do in my DAW, and it will carry on around the path. And then, well, that's retrigger on, and then you can have it fully synced. And that means that like jumping around in your DAW, like if you have a path that's like 4 bars and I jump like 2 bars into it, then instead of motion dimension jumping back to like the start of the path when I hit play on my DAW, it will like jump back to like the relative position. So it will jump back to like 2 bars into the path, if that makes sense. So everything's like fully aligned with where the playhead in your DAW is.
Love it.
So yeah, pretty synced. Cool. So yeah, we've got this nice like love heart shape here, or like mountains. Cool. So it's doing some looking at how it's affecting like the 2 sliders. It's doing some interesting stuff. I don't think it's like reaching the end of this like second slider how I want it to, but we can listen to how it sounds. One thing that I will do is go into select mode up here. Currently it's like attracting, but if I go into select, this allows me to interact with allows me to interact with the sliders like independently. So I can I can automate just them like this instead of using the magnet, but it also determines what the start position of all of them is. So
Solo, is there an eco mode? Like if the animation is actually putting strain on a computer, is there a way to like turn it off?
Not currently, but it's something that we've done for the visualizers in our Bloom instruments. So it's something that we'd like to do here as well, just for people who want to like run like a ton of instances of them. But we haven't got it yet, but it's definitely on our list.
Nice. It is lagging a little bit for the stream, but obviously we're using a ton of resources to do the stream. I just want to make a note of that for everybody watching. He's streaming his audio, webcam, and the screen. It's a lot.
Oh no.
It's not doing
hopefully
it's not doing it
too
all the
bad.
time. Just every now and then it kind of is a little jittery, but
Okay, we'll keep an eye out. Let me know. Cool. So I've basically got all these sliders starting in the center now, and then I've gone into select here, so I can move my nodes around, and then when I bring it up, I can have it reach the end of a slider, come around, and then I think what I'd like to do is sort of like have it bounce up there as well. So in there, up to the top. Nice. And then I'm just going to increase the range a little bit and the strength. So now when we listen, it's going to be a really interesting combination. It might sound terrible, but we can adjust all of this as it's happening. So. So we're affecting the reverb and then the delay. So I want it the way around. So I'm going to affect I'm going to reverse the path. So just by clicking over here, and going to do the delay first and then the reverb. So yeah, so you can get pretty involved, and then you can add more and more to all the sliders. But that's not the only option of what you can do. You can actually go into record, and if I just click on motion dimension just to make sure it's selected, I can hit R and basically start recording my mouse movements. Cool, so we got a little bit of a recording there. Too, I'm going to do it just with it solo, just so I can really hear what I'm doing. Cool. So yeah, if we play that back now, and all of our retrigger and sync is all on. If I press, we've also got like duration down here, so it can be like the duration can be what I recorded it as, which was pretty close to 8 bars. But also I can put it on fixed, and if I do that, I can snap it exactly to 8 bars by having it fixed there. Time 1 bar multiplier there. So. Or not, hang on. Am I doing it too slow? Oh no!
What's happened?
It's glitching for me now. I think it's screen recording stuff as well. Let me load in a new instance. Nightmare.
If you're just joining us, we're here with Excite Audio and Solo Major, and we are checking out Motion Dimension, their newest plugin in their long lines of plugins. And we're going to be giving away this, along with every other Excite Audio plugin, to at least one lucky person at the end of the stream. All you need to do to be entered to win that is be active in the chat, be positive, be a nice person. Emojis work, good questions work, however you want to do it.
Nice. Cool. So I'm going to start my DAW and record a new path. So what I can do is trim my recording here, press play. Brilliant. And now it's playing back as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I got a good question from Shayan Shaik Sorry, I'm definitely not pronouncing that right, but it's a good question. And that is, this has a light version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you let us know the differences between the full version and the light version? And
Yeah,
Connor,
absolutely.
let's get a link to the light version in the chat too, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So Motion Dimension, you get the full path drawing functionality and access to all of the delay and reverb controls. Motion Light is basically a little bit more of like a preset like player effectively. So all you get, I say all you get, but it's basically what you see in this section. So you can't record your own paths, but you can load in presets or like parts of presets and combine like different like effects mappings with different paths. So I'd be able to like load in a preset like this, sort of like automate it however I want with my mouse, and then go down to like simple paths and say that I want to have like this sort of mouse movement and like interaction with the hexagon.
All right, nice.
So
still pretty powerful, I'd say.
It's more of just like load up a preset, find one that sounds cool, like put it on your track and sort of like change it a little bit if you need to in terms of like you get some like in, out, and like dry wet mix down here, and some control over what you want the mouse to do, whether you want it to like repel all of the nodes or attract. So yeah, everything that you get on this left hand side, you get in the light version.
Solo, can I just say we had one of the best comments of the night come in from Quaver Love Studio. It says, great plugin. Excite Audio deserves a HAN parenthesis D parenthesis it's comma solo. So he's got the hand and Han Solo in there, and I think that's just brilliant. Let's get a. We're gonna give you something special at the end of the stream, Quaver Love Studio. That's amazing. Well done for that.
Comment of the night.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty thorough run through, I'd say, Solo. And I know you're a busy person. Is there anything else you wanted to let the people know here before we wrap it up?
Yeah, there's one sort of like secret feature that I say secret, but people aren't like really like aware of it. And it's basically the secret hidden like 7th slider that you can map to. So instead of dragging and dropping effects onto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can actually drag it into the middle. And when you do this, it basically maps to an envelope that you can change like the gain, attack, release, and threshold of, which is really, really cool. So I've sort of made a, thought I made a preset here earlier. Well, we can set one up. Basically, if I just put the wet in the center here and I put it on this clap, so that currently is automating the reverb wet signal, which you can also change out for a mix and a gain instead by linking the dry and the wet together. So if I just put some other things onto this one. Can put a delay wet signal as well. And even a delay time. So yeah, that's basically automating the delay time with the envelope of the snare. So you can imagine that you could have like, guitars or anything like going through it, and as like volume changes, you could have all of these parameters either changing quite subtly or like quite extreme. So yeah, that's just like a cool little like underused feature, I'd say, because it's quite cool just being able to map basically anything here onto the envelope.
Oh, for sure. For sure. All right, Solo. Well, thank you so much for that walkthrough. Very thorough, very impressive. Great plugin. Absolutely, I would say. Another gem in the already stuffed treasure box, which is Excite Audio plugins.
Cheers, man.
What do you say we make someone very, very happy right now?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Before we do that, I do want to just say that Quaver Love Studio, you stole my heart, and we're going to give you a motion bundle from Excite Audio, which is Motion Dimension and Motion Harmonic. So you get both of those plugins just for being clever. I'd like to see that. I'd love to see some really unique and clever comments in the chat. All right, so the way we do this here on Stream Solo to give away, first of all, I guess we'll give you 30 seconds. So 30 seconds from now, we're gonna get a few names rounded up, and the way we do it, Solo, is Connor will jot down some names of some people who've been positive and active in the chat, and we'll have you pick your favorite number between. I've asked for 5 names. We're gonna give them about 30 seconds to collect the last name, but yeah, you can have a think about what your favorite name is. In the meantime, tell me all of the Excite Audio plugins on the Excite Audio lineup without looking. I see you looking. I need.
No, is my screen sharing still? Oh my god, I'm leaking. I'm leaking the whole Excite Audio folder.
No.
Nice.
We're actually not on your desktop anymore. We're just on the.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I had. Yeah.
Did you actually? That
Yeah. I did. We're looking at everything we've got coming out in the next couple of months.
Well, dude, hey. This is the place to do it. I'm looking for some exclusives here on the live stream. So,
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, in the near future, we're definitely looking at other instruments that we can build into the Bloom series. We've had a ton of really great ideas, and sort of variations on some of like the instruments that we've already done. So we've covered like vocals, drums, and bass so far, and people sort of wanting different kinds of drums or different kinds of vocals, but then also like different instruments completely. So we're currently like recording and like hunting for like some awesome sample content to go into those instruments. So that's really exciting. So definitely some more Blooms on the horizon, and then hopefully in the near future, people who are fans of the Lifeline series, should be pretty happy coming up with, we're going to be sort of rewarding our users there as well, and giving that a little bit of an update. So that should be really, really great.
Love it. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, we'll be doing videos each and every time you release a plugin. We love Excite Audio here at Plugin Boutique. So, all right, everybody. I've got 5 names of 5 wonderful community members here. Connor has been so gracious to write these down and send it to me. Now, our second line of randomness, Solo, is for you to choose 1 through 5 to make that lucky person win the entire bundle of Excite Audio plugins right now. Think about it. This isn't something to choose lightly, okay? I mean, really give it a thought. What's that?
It's a difficult decision. I want to know what other people choose, what number. It's probably something like psychological going on there.
I cannot confirm or deny or help you in any way, sir.
Let's go for number 5.
Number 5.
5 out of 5.
Number 5. Step up. The winner of the Excite Audio bundle, which is the complete collection of effects and instruments from Excite Audio, is Felipe Rocha.
Congrats, Felipe.
Connor, remind me next time we speak to get a better clapping sound effect, because this one is just not doing it. Anyway, shout out and congratulations to Philippe Rocha and Quaver Love Studio. Thanks for coming through, everybody else. It's always a blast to do these. Make sure you come back next Thursday. Double header stream, DC snares, Vocal Line 6, and definitely take advantage of that Loop Cloud deal where you just get free Universal Audio EQs, classic, great, high-quality EQs for free for trying out an incredible program that I use literally every day. With that, Solo, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Just thank you so much for having me on. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And anyone who didn't win, we managed to extend the sale on Plugin Boutique for Motion Dimension. So you can still pick it up at the intro price if you're interested. That's on the light and like full versions. So that's $49. So check it out. And we've got a trial as well. So if you want to experiment with it, just like you can just download it and you get it fully functioning for 7 days. So that'd probably be the way to do it with an experimental plugin like this. Absolutely. Download it, try it out, realize you love it, and then grab it. 100% agree. Thank you so much, Solo. Thank you, everybody else. Thank you, Connor. And we will see you in the next stream. Bye-bye. To the top, ragamuffin keeps striving in every way. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamal skin. We are the general. We sit up on the rhythm and I open the mic incredible. I'm me right palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm I sit down steady. Every ragamuffin you do I feel rock and follow me. Cool, you know you love her for your life. We jump up on the rhythm, make we ride it right. We chat up on the mic and keep it international. Cause anytime we jump on mic, they call we give it a general. International, what they call me international. When me ride palm rhythm and I move with the rhythm and I come down crucial. And me ride palm rhythm and then we sit down steady. Body me on the place I with the one Jamal stick.